Welcome, Brian, onto our success interview. Thank you so much for investing the time as your story is quite inspirational for so many people. So thank you for taking the time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So let's just get started with a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Tell us a bit more so that we can get a little info on what Brian is and what he does.
Yeah, so I offer coaching and programs that help people heal their inner child wounds. Childhood traumas, the emotional pain that then comes up very strong in relationships. I help people resolve the root of what causes these relationship issues, which are just a recreation of childhood trauma. So that's what I do as a coach, as a teacher, and mentor.
Yeah, amazing. And you also add in a little bit of plant modalities as well, I think, in that. So tell us just a bit more about like the actual mechanisms of what you do as well, just to kind of get an idea.
Yeah, so we do host plant medicine retreats, working with psychedelics. But it's one of the things that we do. But the biggest core of the work is helping people connect to their body and nervous system, and to get out of the over-analyzing, overthinking mind that just causes more issues. Right? To connect to the emotion that could be like the pain of abandonment, or it could be the lack of self-worth. All these core emotional wounds is connecting to them through the body, and then through the connection to the body, they can connect to the inner child, which is the younger version of themselves that still lives, that the body still remembers. The nervous system in the body still remembers those younger years when we first, experience our core wounding, whether, again, if it's abandonment or it's low self-worth or shame or whatever those things are. It's very much a emotional processing journey. So it's somatic work, it's inner child work, it's also breath work, just different ways to access that stored trauma that is remembered in the body, and then releasing it, reprocessing it, and releasing it in layers so that people can
Yeah.
feel more inner peace, more fulfilled, and then this translate to healthier, more secure, and way happier relationships.
Yeah, amazing. I think the work you do, Brian, is so needed in this world, so much more light to allow us to be more connected to our wholeness and really being in that place. So absolutely love it. I know that when you and I first spoke about a year ago, just over a year ago, you were at a place, if I can remember, it was like this word of plateau came to mind. You have always done super well. You've had other businesses, financially been well off, things have been moving for you. You've helped impact a lot of people. But still, even for me, for you, for any other leader out there, sometimes we need some help on ourselves, right? So tell me a bit more about where you were, if you can remember, at that plateaued stage. What was going on? What was the theme? What was happening that you were thinking about getting some support?
Yeah, so I was at that plateau, like you were saying, where I felt really lost in terms of the skills or the things I needed to learn to get to the next level. I had reached kind of the maximum, competency of my experience in doing online business and sales and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd done well enough to average, if I was doing really good and working hard at it, 50,000 a month, right, in income. And so I was at a point where there's just, I needed to improve my sales. I didn't really know how. I needed to I needed to build a team. I didn't know how. I needed to do a lot of different things that I just didn't know how to do any of those things, and especially not efficiently or well. And so then I was on a journey of searching for an answer, because where I was, I didn't have the experience or competency to take myself further. And so it was very much lost, but also doing lots of research.
Yeah. And I think that place is that awakening, as you and I may talk to students about, is there's something that feels I'm ready to evolve, let the old self release and evolve into the new. Before we jump into when you made the decision to join us, how about emotionally? Was there anything that was you were sensing why the plateau is there? What was that feeling that, okay, I could see I need to move past this and see what that is?
Yeah, I think, I mean, in a way, stress and a little bit, well, definitely burnt out from doing lots of one-on-one coaching calls because
Yeah.
my my company and what I was doing was structured in a way where I had like a smaller tier package and a higher tier package, which involved one-on-one coaching. But that was filling up pretty quickly, and I was burnt out taking all these coaching calls, and I didn't have time to work on the other areas of business. So that was creating stress. That was not only stressful, but also limiting my income potential because I was spending so much time doing the deliverables myself. And so, I think just a general sense of kind of burnt out, but also, knowing I can do more, wanting to do more, but not knowing how, so maybe some uncertainty and some fear around, like what's the way forward? How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And so I think you asked something about like how I found you. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we touch on it, it sounds like it was a little foggy, kind of
Mm.
like you're going down the road and it's like, you're still moving, but it's fogginess and it's hard to
Yes.
see. So when you and I came together, how did that go? Like, how did you find us? But not only that, what was the decision point? You and I were on the call, and it was like there's a couple of things that came up, but it was, I know that's the path. That's where I want to take this.
Yeah.
So walk us through that point when we started to work together.
Yeah. So we had our sales call, and I found you through school, actually, the platform that you host all your stuff on.
Yeah.
And I saw that, oh, you're doing the thing that I want to do. Like the action is there. You're doing it. I just need to do what you're doing, essentially. Like, how do you get there? And so, booked a sales call, and I think a couple key things that made that stand out to me was, I mean, number one was I already saw what I wanted to learn from you through through your community and the way you have things set up. But number two is that on the sales call, you were selling the package as something that was you were selling the coaching package as something that was like a year long, and that you know unconsciously stirred up my own traumas around commitment, either my own self committing to something, but also even just asking anyone to commit to something like that, right? Just
Yeah.
way out of my comfort zone. And so you're able to handle that objection in a way that helped me learn about myself and to help shine light on like, oh, this is inner child, this is my own inner child wound and coming back to that, my own childhood trauma coming into the process and blocking me from the next level. If anything, that's the reason why I'm blocked from the next level is not just lack of skill or experience, but also my own emotional limitations of what I think is possible or not possible.
Yeah.
And so you were able to highlight that and help me connect to the root of those blocks. It wasn't just a lack of ability, but like there's fear, there's emotion, there's traumas there that keep us stuck. And you help me connect. And then when you help me connect to see that, I was like, oh wow, this is the guy. He gets to the root of things. It's not just like tactical. That's very important too in a business sense. But like, there's like always the emotional component, the energetics of what's happening inside your body, inside you, that keep us doing the same, the stuck patterns over and over again. There's the energy loops, I think you'd call them. So
Yeah.
that was really big.
Huge. And you're pointing out something I think that a lot of people can start to grasp more. Sometimes we say things out loud that seem logical. I'm not comfortable with that. That's not the way I do things. Or even justifying why they may or not be able to move forward with something because it feels true. It
Yes.
feels like the thoughts we have. But if we can start to become aware, wait a second, is this trauma or is this clarity? Right.
Yeah.
And discerning that is a skill in its own right that we can develop and understand. So we took that jump, we moved forward, and we started to really work together on the strategy, right? We started to really pick apart what is your essence of structure, the mentorship, the pricing, the offers, but also we did some inner child and deeper healing work around father and different things in different times where it was creating some turmoil with worthiness and different things. So walk us through maybe the first couple of months to 6 months, like let's talk strategy first. How
Yeah.
was that for you to start embodying things that felt very uncomfortable, but you're like, okay, let's try it. You did it, and we saw some great results. So
Yeah. So, I mean, it was scary at first, of course, right? Like I said
yeah,
before, you were guiding me into a direction of massive growth, both income, emotionally, and so on. And so it was great just to know that the roadmap was there. You had done it, you do it now in your program.
yeah,
So it works clearly. Works for you. So I was like, I knew that, okay, well, he got proven track record and he's walking this talk. Even though I'm scared of doing it, the proof is in the pudding. He's doing it. So I'm like, okay, he has the roadmap laid out. So he's really just following your step-by-step guidance. Like, do this, create this form here, structure it this way, talk about it in this way, right? And so I just followed the guidance all the way through, and allowing the fear to be there, but acting anyways. But with the fear that's there, you and Sheila had great guidance in helping me process that fear and doing the inner child work, right? That even I myself promote in my work to connect to the little boy that felt so trapped and stuck and small and afraid of uncertainty, afraid of commitment, and all these different things that was kind of the undercurrent of taking these big leap steps forward. And so it's both happening at the same time, where you were laying out a step-by-step roadmap, extremely helpful to just know what to do and to do it, right? So tactically, there's that. And then there's also the emotional processing as I was doing it, processing my emotions so that I wouldn't just keep unconsciously sabotaging the process, right? So I was processing the emotion and the trauma while also just walking through the roadmap that you laid out for me. That was so huge for me. That was really
yeah.
transformational in my business. Obviously involved having to face my fears to do it, but that's where the growth is, both, in more ways than one. And so, I was able to, within those first couple or few months, hire my first assistant coach with a lot of your support.
Yeah.
Began doing better at sales calls, and then it's a huge leap to I was selling packages that are maybe like 2 to 3 thousand before, and now it's 25,000. And so like developing the competency on how to actually sell those types of packages. And then again, dealing with my inner child wounding that comes up, like, oh, I don't know if am I going to fail? Am I going to get rejected? Is it going to be good enough? Is it going to work? Right? And then all the wounding that's underneath that is like the perfect synergy of both of those things, the tactical element and the emotional healing.
Yeah, it's just amazing how you're bridging all this together for everyone listening in, because one of the most amazing qualities I've always said about you, Brian, is you are an implementer. You take it and you run, and you don't want the darkness to hold you back in a place of shadow and saying, you know what, I can face it. And you have always had the courage to do that. Well,
Yeah.
before you and I, of course, met, but you brought that courage to what we've done. And if anybody's listening in, that one quality of saying it's scary, it's kind of exciting, and it's very uncomfortable. Let me pause before I run, or before the adrenaline rush, nervous system going out of whack. Let me look into it before I even justify why I can't or cannot do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And you move forward with it. So, fast track later on, you have assistant coach, you're leveraging a lot of team.
Mhm.
You have a 25K package, like you said, just leaps and bounds and difference. And then you also had a pretty big couple of months, six-figure months that came up there as a result as well of just you embodying launches in the webinar style and all these things. So tell us about some of those big wins. Everyone likes to hear the wins sometimes as well on the
Yeah.
financial side versus also internal. Both are just as important. So how did that
Yeah,
go?
so I mean, like I was saying before, I was averaging maybe 50,000, 40 to 50,000 a month. And those are good months where I'm like really working hard. Um, Now the average is double that. Like you're saying, like the 6-figure months. So now it's actually pretty easy to do those 100,000, months. And it's not always even a web. Sometimes it's a webinar that gives me, a handful of sales that push me there. Sometimes it's just doing really good sales calls, and I get pushed there as well. And so, but that's also a big skill that I learned too, is doing a webinar and a launch, which I had never done before, right? So I learned that from scratch from you, and I think one of the webinars did I think over 20,000, within the week that I launched. And so, just the increasing my sales skills, offering higher packages, doing webinars and things like that, and having the time to do it, because now I have an assistant coach, or hiring an assistant coach to be able to allocate my time to these other areas of business. All these are responsible for making me, now that becomes my new standard, is 100K months, right? More or less.
Yes.
And so, it's been a solid, this is not even just like a lucky 1 or 2 month, like it's now the standard where my business has literally doubled.
Yes.
And I'm not doing one-on-one coaching calls anymore. So I have a lot more time to work on these really other important areas of the business to grow it more and to lay even a stronger foundation. Because it's averaging 100,000 now per month, but the foundation is set where I can hire more people. Now hiring salespeople, more assistant coaches. Like the foundation is set to growing way more than that, right?
Yeah.
Because of the direct result of working with you. And I would not have had that foundation. I would not have developed emotionally, energetically to have this foundation, or the skill to have this foundation in place at all, if it wasn't for you in the program. I would have been stuck at where I was before. This was exactly what I needed to do to give myself the quantum leap to the next level, to double my business, to completely restructure my business in a way to not to allow for even more growth beyond the doubling. It's going to definitely triple, probably end of this year. And so it's just been, such an incredible and transformative journey, just working with you and the team and doing what you say. At the end of the day, it's just the proof is in the pudding. You're just doing it, right? You are doing the very thing you're coaching on, and you're getting results on the very thing you're trying to get us to get results in. It's like, just follow the mentorship. Even if it's scary, it's right there.
Yeah. With all of this, following through, right? Seeing what you can do, seeing if the results are there, and just saying, let's do it. Let's try it out. The worst thing that can happen is you go back to what you always did. That's fine.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, really amazing overall. And really the identity shift was the thing that creates a sustainability, right? So anybody listening in, I think Jim Rohn said, if you get $1 million, you best become a millionaire, right? Because you have to shift the identity, or else it's going to be here and then maybe down here again. Yeah. So just bringing this thing to a conclusion, I'd say overall, all the experience you've had, you've done a lot of courses, a lot of seminars, a lot of retreats, a lot of stuff out there. What maybe set this a little different than most, or what thing did you pick out that, okay, that really, really helped quite a bit? And you've already said a lot of things, but just for any encouragement to anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, even have to reiterate it, because you can't say this stuff enough. Number one is you have a deep understanding of the trauma, the energy that's stored inside us that blocks us to these next levels, especially in a way that is sustainable. It's so critical, because you can do technical stuff, but if you don't have that, if you haven't changed it inside yourself, then it's going to cause a lot of issues later on. The second thing is, I mentioned this before, but you're walking the talk. You're doing the very thing that you're training people to do, and you're getting results at it. And it's just following. It's just that roadmap of just do these things, follow what I do, I think is so powerful. And I'll add a third thing, which I can very much tell that your heart is in this. Your heart is in this. This is not a business opportunity just to make money. Like your heart is into this. You love what you do and you love helping people. And that's 100% evident. And not only evident for you, but the team that you also bring together. Like they match your energy and enthusiasm in this. So it's very authentic and genuine.
Yeah.
And so that's what sets you apart from a lot of, different courses and then programs out there are those things.
Yeah. Beautifully said. I love it. Thank you for the genuine words, of course. Just final note, I think for anybody on the edge, because it is a big investment and it's going to take some time. It's going to take some going through uncomfortability, like we've said so many times already. What would you say to somebody that's right on the edge and they're just like, you know what? I kind of want I want something different, but I can't get over the money or can't get over the time or whatever it is. What might you say to them for words?
Yeah, I guess what I would say is that it's okay to be scared and still take action. That's the biggest thing is that the fear is going to be there no matter what we do in life where there's growth and we got to challenge ourselves and take a perceived risk. But what I have found in myself, even in my own clients, that when we allow the fear to be there and we go the opposite direction of the fear, that's where all the beautiful things that you want in life are. It's on the other side of fear, always. Whether it's more love, more money, more, success, more growth, whatever that thing is going to be on the other side of fear, right? Fear is what's been keeping your life exactly how it is, right? The fear is meant to keep you exactly where you are because it feels safe, it feels certain. But if you're tired of being stuck in that place in life, then you're gonna have to go against the fear, right? Allow it to be there, acknowledge it, but you have to go in the opposite direction. Otherwise, you just keep getting what you got. So here we are.
Yeah, 100%. Face it, go through it, and see the treasure after you go through. Right?
Yeah,
Really
yeah,
great. Well, I really appreciate, again, all the time you put into this, Brian. You're quite inspiration to so many people because you do the work and you found the path moving forward. So if anybody did want to find you, where they find you, you got YouTube, you got TikTok, you got a lot of social content out there.
yeah.
So
You can find me on all the social, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It's the same handle. It's at Awakening with Brian. That's Brian with an I. Or you can find my website at awakeningwithbrian.com. Right, those are the two sources. Yeah,
yeah,
social media or my website.
check out Brian's work. It's amazing what he does. And if you're ready for the Energize program, just go for it. Book the call. Let's talk. Let's be there together and investigate what your path is next. Absolutely. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate you immensely. You're a light in this world. And what I'm seeing for you right now is that you're about to 5 to 10x, even in the next 6 to 12 months, from even this place to so many more people in this world because they need it. They need your light. They need who you are. So I appreciate you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. That warms my heart. Yeah.